Hi there, welcome to live stream Yoga with Louise, tips and cues to keep you safe and strong on the mat. Today we are going to kickstart our day off with some all-round body conditioning. As always, play where you're comfortable, modify where you need to, and feel comfortable to pause the stream should you need to take a rest. You ready to begin? Let's hit the mat. We're going to set up for today's class standing more or less in the middle of the mat. I'd like you to stack your feet in parallel underneath your hips, tuck your tailbone under, pull your belly button in, and then check that your body is stacked. Stack your shoulders over your hips over your knees over your ankles, and make sure that your head is center aligned. Stand up nice and tall and look down towards your toes. I want you to grip or claw the mat with your toes so that it feels like the arch of your foot is hollowing out, and then relax the toes. You're going to do that 10 times, gripping the mat. Make sure that you're gripping the mat with all 10 toes. Hold for at least 3 to 4 seconds, then relax. Make sure that your pinky toe is not floating up in the air. Make sure that all 10 digits are working hard. Feel each little pad underneath each individual toe, gripping the mat, and then relax. Make sure that you're giving me a nice hollow underneath the feet, as if a little army of ants had just enough space to crawl underneath from the one side of the foot to the other. Last one. Look down towards your toes and lift all 10 digits off the floor, fanning the toes out and giving me a little space between each toe. Then relax to the mat. Rinse and repeat. Lift, fan the toes out. Think of almost stretching them out as if you wanted to allow them to touch the corners of the room. Make sure that you've got a nice space between each toe as you lift and spread. That came out wrong. All right, give me 2 more. Last one. Relax the toes to the mat and lift your heels up off the mat, getting a nice little stretch into the calf, and then relax all the way down to the floor. Lift up. Pause here for a second so that you're giving the ankles a little bit of balancing conditioning. And if you find that your balance is off today, just keep your eye trained on a focal point on the floor or the wall in front of you to help hone your balance. Make sure that you're almost pushing off the toes and trying to bob your head onto the ceiling as you come up and hold. Let's do 2 more. Last one. We're going to do toes and heels together. Come all the way down. Lift all 10 toes off the mat. Then ground the toes and bring the heels up off the floor, pausing. Ground the whole foot, lift the toes off, pause. Connect the toes, lift the heels off the mat. You're going to rock back and forth, holding or pausing with first the toes off and then the heels off. So don't rush through the movement. Allow your feet, your ankles and the lower limbs a little bit of conditioning time. Let's do 3 more. Last one. As you complete the last one and reconnect to the mat, dip your weight slightly off center to the left. Give me a surrender arm behind your head and place the other arm on your hip. Extend out and tap your toe to the mat so it's just a little bit wider than your hip. You're going to float that leg up to about a tabletop line and tap back up. Don't rush through the lift. Pause and tap back up. Weight slightly off center. Your inner thighs on your grounding leg are drawn up, so you've pulled up all the way from the ankle bone towards your pubis, and then you've zipped it in even more tightly from your pubic bone towards your belly button line. Let's do 5, 4, 3, 2, last one. You're going to think of bending the knee on that extended leg, drawing it in towards the midline, and then float the elbows softly towards it. Don't force the two limbs together. Just give me a soft, little almost crunching and contracting motion through the core. Let's do 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, last one, we're going to change sides. Come back to your midway point. Dip the weight off center to the right. Find your toe tap position. Tuck the right hand behind the head in a surrender-like fashion and the other hand on your hip. Float the leg out and tap back out. Slow and controlled. Use the inner thigh on the grounding leg. Use your core to help and stabilize. Give me 5, 4, 3, 2, the last one. You're going to bend that knee, float it in, and then bring your surrender arms slightly in, just till you feel a nice little contraction through the core. So think of pulling up from your pubic bone towards your belly button line, and at the same time tucking down from the sternum towards your belly button line, and then double up by pulling in from the sides towards the belly button at the same time. Let's do one more. Last one. Come back to your midway point and float your feet into a small Pilates V. Heels together, toes softly splayed out. And you can just brace the hands softly on the hips or keep them relaxed at the side. You're going to step into a little gate line. Think plie with the feet softly splayed out and come back to your start position. You're going to alternate stepping out right and left. Think soft plie line. Keep your breath flowing. Experiment with your breath pattern, but don't hold the breath. Let's shoot for 5 more sets. 5, 4, 3, 2, last set. Then we're going to add a little bit of a plyometric movement in, and that'll give you 2 play options. You can either just think of launching your weight up on the toes, heels off the floor, or you can give me a little hop out into your plie line and a hop back. Shoot for between 5 and 10 repetitions. Pick your poison, either jumping out into a soft little plie line or launching your heels off the floor and coming up high onto the toes. Just get the heart rate a little elevated. Give me 4, 3, 2, last one. You're going to change your orientation on the mat. You're going to keep that little Pilates V, and you're going to give me 5 roll downs from the V position. Heels together, toes softly spread out, tailbone tucked under, belly button pulled in. Big breath in to prepare. On the exhale, nod your chin to your chest, hollow out through your belly as you peel down 1 vertebra at a time. Use that same hollow frame to peel back up, restack, and realign. Find a steady rhythm of your own. Make sure that you're syncing your movement to your breath. And think of that control through your spine and your core. Hollow out the belly, almost as if you were rounding out over a big Swiss ball, and then peel back up. After you've done 5, change your legs into the parallel line and give me 5 from the parallel line. Looking the whole time for that inner thigh and that abdominal connection. And then thinking of that realignment, that restacking of your body as you come up. So as you start peeling up, knees, over ankles, hips over knees, shoulders over hips, head center aligned with the little tuck of your tailbone. Let's do 2 more, and then we'll find our way into a 4-point kneeling frame after the last one. Last little roll down, we're going to change it up halfway. As you come down on the last roll down, when you hit about the tabletop line, I want you to straighten up through the back. Keep your core braced, dangle your arms down, and just trace 2 big circular patterns with the fingertips, keeping your arms long and dangly and executing from the shoulder girdle. Change and move in the opposite direction. Keep the weight bearing equal between the balls and the heels of your feet. So the feet are working, the inner thighs are working, you're getting a nice stretch up the back and the front chain of the legs. Come to stillness, soften the knees, and then step back into your 4-point kneeling frame on the mat. Make sure that your hands are stacked underneath your shoulders, knees underneath your hips, and don't drop your head. Give me a long line through the neck and the spine, and your gaze is down on the mat between the 2 thumbs, and the belly button is firmly pulled in towards the center line. Keeping your hips and your shoulders as level as you can on both sides. You're going to lift, hold, and hover the right arm alongside your ear. Keep lengthening with your fingertips to tap the wall in front of you. Lock that arm in position, and at the same time begin sliding the left foot away from you to extend the leg, keeping the big toe connected to the ground. And then when the leg is fully extended, start drawing up from the kneecap along the quad and the hamstring to lift the leg up, and then hold the 2 limbs in a nice long line, keeping the shoulder girdle and the pelvis as stable as you can. Float back down to the mat. Find your grounding. Lift and hover the left arm alongside your ear. Think of the shoulders, think of the pelvis. Keep them stable. Start sliding the right leg into extension. Don't rush the movement. Draw up from the kneecap along the quad and the hamstring to come into full extension in the tabletop line. Peel back down to your start position. We're going to play with that movement dynamically. Simultaneously lift the left leg and the right arm into extension. And then on an exhale, draw the knee and the palm back into table, but hover both the knee and the palm off the mat. You're going to extend and come back into your tabletop position 10 times. Trying not to pop and rotate through either the shoulder girdle or the pelvic girdle. Keeping your core braced. Exhale as you draw the 2 limbs back into tabletop. Inhale as you extend. Keep your core braced. Keep your neckline long. Let's do 2 more, and then we'll change sides. Find your frame first. Make sure that you're not collapsing. So lengthen through the arms and lighten your load by keeping the core braced. Extend left arm, right leg. On an exhale, draw back into your floating 4-point kneel position with the left palm and the right knee hovering just off the mat. Stop when the 2 limbs are alongside each other. So you're stopping when the 2 palms are mirror imaging each other and the 2 knees are mirror imaging each other. Keep your core working. Feel that contraction as the knee and the arm come in. Let's do 2 more, and then we'll take it into active rest. Peel up into a kneeling frame. If you're feeling on the tender side, you're just going to stick with a side stretch. Kneeling up nice and tall, arms relaxed on the top of your thighs. Dip off the center line into a side stretch, keeping that plank line through your body as you float the arms up to about shoulder height. If you're feeling a little bit more adventurous, you're going to come into a surrender, a dynamic surrender. Tuck both hands behind your head, step up with the left leg and then the right leg. Drop down to the left knee and then the right knee. And you're going to keep stepping up, left leg first up, and left leg first down. Keeping both hands tucked behind the head. If you find that this is a little bit too strenuous for you, you're going to hold the kneeling frame and play with option 1, which was just using that little off-center side stretch, dipping the body off the center line. Let's do 3, 2, last one. You're going to ease your way back into a 4-point kneeling frame, this time allowing for maybe a little bit more space between the two hands so that you can ground. We're going to work the glutes. Keep your tabletop line, neckline nice and long, core braced and pulled into the center line. You're going to gently bend the left leg, brace into the heel, hover the knee off the floor, and then donkey kick up as if you wanted to kick with the sole of your foot towards the ceiling, and then draw the knee back into its original hovering tabletop position. Experiment with your breath pattern, but keep the breath flowing. Let's do 4, 3, 2. You're going to end with that knee hovering off the mat in tabletop. Bring it out to the side in a little fire hydrant, and then come back to your original start position. Watch that you're not collapsing through the shoulders. So keep pushing the mat away strongly with your hands, almost thinking of trying to bring the whole rib cage up towards the ceiling, and keep your core braced. All right, end with the leg up at 90. You're going to draw the heel in towards the midline of the body and come back to your start position. So you're not moving up and down. You're moving in a horizontal plane, right to left, left to right. Give me 4, 3, 2. The last one. You're going to circle out, tracing 5 circular patterns with the knee in one direction. Inhaling for half, exhaling for the other half, maybe using the circumference of a soccer ball as your guideline. And then once you've done 5 traces in one direction, move in the opposite direction. Make sure that you're keeping that belly button firmly pulled into center and that you're not collapsing through the shoulder girdle. Last one, peel down into your kneeling frame, either staying with your off-center side stretch, just floating the body back in a nice plank line, feeling the inner thighs, feeling the lower abs, or we're going to surrender on the right. Tuck both hands behind the head, step up on the right, coming into standing, and then drop down on the right knee first. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, last 2, then we'll make our way back to 4-point kneeling, and we'll work the bum, the glute on the right. Ease your way back down to your 4-point kneeling position, hands maybe a little bit wider. Make sure that your weight distribution is equal on your 3 points of contact. Hover your right knee off the floor, float, or donkey kick the limb up behind you, taking the sole of your foot up as if you wanted to kick the ceiling away with the sole of your foot. I'm going to call that 5, 4, 3, keep your core braced, 2, you're going to end with the knee hovering just off the floor, draw the knee up towards the side in a little fire hydrant, and then float back to a hovering knee line. Keep pushing the mat away, long through the neckline, core braced, 5, 4, 3, 2. You're going to end with the knee high, draw the heel in towards the midline, and then come back to your start position. Make sure you're moving in a horizontal plane, left to right, right to left. Keep your breath flowing. Keep pushing the mat away. Let's do 3 more, and then we'll circle out. Last one. Trace 5 circular patterns with the knee in one direction. Find the diameter radius that works for you, but keep those circles nice and round. Once you've traced 5 circles in one direction, change it up and give me 5 in the other. Keep your core braced. Last one. Find your way into your side stretch. Or play with your surrender. Step up on the left first, drop down on the left. We're going to do 5 on each side. 3, 4. Last one, stepping up with the left first. As you come down, change it up. Step up on the right first, and then drop down on the right first. 3, 4. Last one. Ease your way back into a soft kneeling frame, coming into child pose, big toes together, knees open nice and wide. Extend the arms out and just take a nice little stretch here. Almost clawing or walking back through the hands, trying to make your bum bones as heavy as you're comfortable with, and really try to get them to touch the heels of your feet. Let's thread the needle from child. Keep your left arm nice and long and lengthened with the palm connected to the mat. Take a big breath in, and on an exhale, thread the right arm underneath the left armpit, and then just sink yourself down into the mat. Make that whole right shoulder really heavy into the mat, and keep softly reaching with your right fingertips to tap the wall at the other side of the room. Come back into your extended child line. Take a little breather here, pushing through both palms and sinking your heels even closer towards your bum line. Take a big breath in to prepare, and on the exhale, thread the left arm underneath your right armpit. As you thread through, make that whole left shoulder heavy to the mat, and reach softly with your left fingertips for the wall at the other side of the room. Ease your way back into your extended child one last time. Take at least a little 5-second stretch here, pushing back and really trying to get the bum and the heels to connect. We're going to ease our way from here into the seated frame at the front of the mat. Maybe coming through 4-point kneeling, finding a relaxed dog, tucking your toes under, knees floating off the mat, nice little spider fingertips. Hop or step up, crossing the legs behind you, and then ease your way into a comfortable staff pose, sitting up nice and tall towards the top end of the mat. Make sure that you're not hanging behind your bum bone. So lift the bum flesh out of the way, sit up nice and tall, feel firmly grounded or rooted into the mat, and try to stack your shoulders over your hips. You could wedge a hand towel underneath your bum, or even take a yoga block so that you can tilt your pubic bone down towards the 6 o'clock position and get a nice stack with the shoulders. We're going to sit up nice and tall and just brace your hands softly on the floor alongside your hips. Think of just drawing up along the top of your thighs, and then from your pubic bone towards your belly button line, to lift, hold, and hover your heels off the mat for 10 seconds. 10, 8, 6, 4, 2, soften, come back down and just shake it out. We're going to try and do the same, but this time you're going to try to bring the whole limb off the floor and hold for 10 seconds. Remember not to throw your head back. Look down towards your navel. Keep your chest and your weight traveling forward. Pull up along the top of your thighs, your inner thighs, and your lower abdominals to raise that leg. Lifting and holding for 10, either fingertips on the floor or extend the arms out in front. 10, 8, 6, 4, 2, bring it down, shake it out. Make sure that you're using those inner thighs. Make sure that you're using your core. Ready? Lift, hold, and hover. 10, 8, 6, 4, 2, float down, give it a little shake out. Fist your hands. Drop the fists down into the mat. You could use a yoga block or maybe a book on each side if you've got really short arms and you find that you can't get a bum lift off the mat. You're going to brace softly into your feet, draw up along the inseam of the legs, pull up from the pelvic floor, nod your chin to your chest, lift, hold, and hover your bum off the floor for 10 seconds so the weight is just resting on the heels of your feet and your fisted hands. 5, 4, 3, 2, gently come down to the mat. Give me a little shooting star just to release any tension in the hand and the wrist line. Now we're going to combine the single leg lift and the bum lift, and you're going to hold for 10 seconds on each side. Fist your hands, nod your chin towards the chest. Lift your bum up off the mat, lift, hold, and hover just the right leg off the mat. So you're only connected with the left heel and the two fists. 7, 5, 3, 1. Gently come down to the mat. Little shooting star. Wiggle around, release it. We're going to do the same on the other side. Find your nice tall seat. Fist your hands into the mat, nod your chin to your chest, zipper up, lift your bum, lift, hold, and hover on the left. 8, 6, 4, 2, 1. Bring it down, give me a little shake up. And then maybe soften through the wrists, float them up towards the ceiling, and then push down into the heels of your hand as if you were painting a wall with beautiful long brush strokes. Just up and down. Make sure you're sitting up nice and tall, using your inner thighs and your core. And then take those brush strokes to the side and to the center, to the side and to the center. All right. Sit up nice and tall. And hold your staff frame for 10 seconds, reaching through the soles of your feet and the fingertips for the wall at the opposite end of the room. Keeping a beautiful high stack, shoulders over hips, chin line parallel to the floor, inner thighs committed, core committed. We're going to bring it into a table hold. You can give me flat palms or fisted hands on the mat, whichever you prefer. Bend the knees. Bring your hips up towards the ceiling and hold strong for 10. Try not to lean the weight into the arms or into the legs. So try to keep the weight distribution equal on the arms and the legs. Chin line nice and parallel. Don't allow the head to just flop back. Puts a lot of tension on the nape of your neck. Hold for 10 seconds. Ease your way back into your seated frame. Find your staff frame and hold for 10. Reach through the soles of your feet. Reach through your fingertips. Keep your shoulders stacked over your hips. Inner thighs switched on, core switched on. Table hold, 10 seconds. Maybe try a fisted line this time and see how that feels. Pike your hips up nice and evenly. Make sure the weight distribution is equal on the arms and the legs. You're using your quads, you're using your hamstrings, you're using your glutes. Your feet are firmly grounded, toes are not peeling up off the mat. Feet and knees stay hip width distance apart. Float back into your staff pose one last time and hold for 10. All right, from here we're going to play with Wild Thing. You can either stay in your tabletop line, or this time as you bend the knees, you're going to float your fingertips in the opposite direction. You're going to come up into the three-legged table, and you're going to hold for 10 seconds, trying to pierce the wall with the fingertips of the overhead arm, trying to keep that nice parallel stack with the feet and the knees. Nice little stretch into the core. Find your way back into staff, lengthen through your fingertips and the soles of your feet. Stack your shoulders over your hips. Switch your inner thighs on, switch your core on. All right, let's take it to the other side. Fingertips facing away from you. Bend the knees, pike the hips up. Find your little three-legged table. Try to keep the weight distribution equal on the one palm and the 2 feet connected. So don't lean the weight, all of the weight into the one arm, or don't lean the weight into both feet. Even it out. Wiggle around, find that midway point. Come back to your staff pose. Lengthen. We're going to roll it down from parallel. Find your little padding if you need it to support the lower back. Sit up nice and tall. Fingertips tapping the wall in front of you. Take a big inhale to prepare. On the exhale, nod your chin to your chest. Peel down, controlling your descent and controlling your ascent by looking in towards your belly button, both on the roll down as well as on the roll up. And try and slow it down today. Don't rush through the movement. Make it mindful. Make sure that you're actually feeling each little briquette of that 6-pack or that 8-pack that you are cultivating on your belly. Remember, we don't want to have one big barrel of a belly. We want to have a nicely sculpted ab set. Use your breath. Don't hold your breath. Make sure that you're using a full exhalation for the roll down and the roll up. So inhale to prepare. Full exhalation to peel yourself all the way down. Take a recovery inhalation and then use a full exhalation to peel back up, to restep and to realign. Let's do 2 more and then we'll end on the back and we'll do a small little core set. So as you come down on your last one, if you've got any padding, bend the knees, connect the soles of the feet, lift your bum up off the mat, and just scooch your padding up, placing it to one side. Set yourself up almost in a bridge line with the knees bent, soles of the feet connected to the mat, feet and knees more or less hip-width distance apart. Nice little neutral spine position with a little space between your lower back and the mat, and the belly button nice and heavy towards the center line. Tuck your hands behind your head in a surrender-like fashion. Make sure that your chin line is soft and relaxed and that there's no tension in your jaw or your neckline. From your neutral spine position, take a big breath in to prepare. On the exhale, tilt or scoop your pelvis towards the 12 o'clock position so that your lower back imprints into the mat. Peel up off the mat with your shoulder blades. Look down towards your belly button and hold. Make sure that you aren't yanking the arms in. Keep them wide and then float back down to your start position. You're going to give me 9 more. Scoop to peel up and hold for at least 3 seconds, feeling the core beginning to quiver as you hold the frame, and then inhaling to float back down. As you scoop and come up, pull up from the pubis towards your belly button, tuck down from the sternum towards your belly button, and then draw in from the sides at the same time. So everything converges towards your belly button as you scoop to peel up. You're supporting the weight of your head by resting the head in that little cradle behind the head, but you're not yanking on the head or the neck, and your elbows stay wide and relaxed. Watch that you're not tensing through the jaw. I want that tensing to be in the belly, not in the neck and the chest area. Let's do 2 more. Then we'll take a little rest before we add to this basic exercise. Peel down to the mat and just give yourself at least 5 recovery breaths, keeping the hands tucked behind your head. We're going to use that basic scoop and add a little bit of rotational movement, but slow and controlled, and we're going to hold it. All right, take a big breath in to prepare. On the exhale, tilt your pelvis to the 12 o'clock position, scoop to peel up. Pause here for 3 seconds, and then rotate across the midline of the body and hold. Not forcing the twist, just coming slightly off center and then peeling back down the same way that you came up. Scoop to peel up, pause, hold. Cross over the midline of the body, throwing the weight slightly off center to the right and the left elbow peeking slightly up towards the ceiling. Float back down. We're just going to do 4 more, but I want them slow and controlled. Scoop to peel up, pause, rotate off center to the left and hold. Core braced, weight off the shoulders. Float back down. Scoop to peel up, hold. Twist softly off center to the right. Float back down. 3 more sets to go. Scoop and peel up, hold. Rotate softly off center to the left and hold. Weight just off the shoulders. Inhale to float back down. Scoop, peel up. Rotate softly to the right. There should be a soft sheen of perspiration on your body. So intense is the hold and the work. Softly float back down to the mat. Only 2 more sets to go. Mercy. Big breath in. Scoop, peel up. Hold. Softly rotate and pause. Float back down to the mat the same way you came up. Big breath in. Scoop, peel up. Hold. Rotate slightly off center to the right. Feel the belly quiver. Float back down. Whew. 1 more set to go. Scoop, peel up, pause. Rotate softly off center to the left and hold. Inhale to float back down. Last one to the right. Scoop, peel up, hold. Slightly off center. Twist to the right. Hold, hold, hold. Float back down. Give yourself at least 5 recovery breaths. Keep those hands tucked behind the head. We're going to work a set of high abdominals. Basic framework stays the same, but when you scoop, you're going to draw your chin up towards the ceiling. So you're not looking down towards your belly button, you're looking up towards the ceiling and coming back down. Begin in neutral. Big breath in to prepare. On the exhale, tilt your pelvis to 12 o'clock. As you peel up, bring the shoulders off the mat, but bring your chin up to the ceiling and then float back down. You're going to do that 10 times. Pausing, holding for at least 3 seconds. Float back down. So you should be feeling the briquettes south, no, not south, north of your belly button. Feel the rib cage heavy and imprinting into the mat behind you, the middle of your rib cage, as you float the chin line up. Make sure that the elbows are staying nice and wide and that you're not hugging them in towards the center line. Just rest the weight of your head in your hands. Let's see if we can do 2 more. Last one. Then float the hands alongside the body. Palms down. Arms soft and relaxed, or you can tuck the hands, palms down underneath the bum. Float your legs softly to the 90 position, bracing softly into your feet. Keep bracing into the feet and drop the whole leg line down to about 75. Pause. Bend the knees, tuck back in and drive back up to your start position. So you're almost moving like a slow piston, dropping to about 75, pausing for 3 seconds before you cycle back up to your start position. If you're feeling really strong, you can bring those legs all the way down, hovering just off the floor for at least 3 to 4 seconds before you piston back to your start position. If you find that dropping the leg line lower than 75 puts too much pressure on your lower back, then keep your range of motion smaller. Remember, you want to be feeling it in the core and not in the lower back or the neck for that matter. Keep your breath flowing. Experiment with your breath, but make sure that you're syncing your movement to your breath and that you're not holding on to the breath and tensing the whole body. Use the breath as an aid rather than fighting. So the breath should stay soft and relaxed, giving you enough oxygen intake to drive and hold the movement. Last one. Bend the knees, draw them into tabletop, place your hands palms down on the knees, and trace 3 or 4 circular patterns with the knees away from each other, moving in the same direction, and then maybe changing it up and moving that little trace in the opposite direction. We're going to come into a little hand to big toe stretch from here, and you might need a hand towel, a strap, or a belt for this one if your range of motion doesn't allow you a grip position on the big toe or the foot. You're going to draw the right knee up to 90, reaching with your middle index finger and thumb for the big toe, or just wrapping around the toes and the ball of your foot, and you're just going to hold that little stretch, maybe T-shaping the left arm. Keep tugging down. If you need to, you can bend and extend dynamically, and then hold, or once you've been able to sufficiently relax that little tight spot behind the right knee. If this feels good, extend your supported leg. Give me an active brace into the whole sole of your foot. Keep bracing into both feet for that matter, and keep just gently tugging down on the toes or maybe the ball of the right foot. And you could wrap a strap or a hand towel or a belt around that foot if you need to. Then let go of that foot. Draw the leg into the tabletop position. Your arms are T-framed into the mat. You're going to reach with your left fingertips for the outside of the right knee. You're going to draw the knee across the midline of the body. As you start crossing over the midline of the body, lift your hips off the floor and tuck the left hip underneath you so that you can fully rotate the right hip on top of the left, getting a nice little twist into the lower lumbar area. And then just draw that knee over as far as is comfortable for you, and try to float your head in the opposite direction to the knee, and just hold for at least 10 to 15 seconds, trying to keep your right shoulder blade nice and heavy and as connected to the mat as you can comfortably manage. Ease your way back to the center line. Ground both feet into the mat. Lift up and realign your body in the middle of the mat. Cross the right leg over the left. Draw up into a little tabletop line. Place opposite hand on the outside of each knee, and then just draw the two knees softly away. So you're pulling actively with both hands, trying to draw the two knees in opposite directions. Hold, maybe scooping to peel up and looking towards your pubis, nodding your chin towards your chest. Hold. Softly float back down to the mat. Uncross your legs. Extend the left leg up to the ceiling. Use your belt or your prop, or reach maybe for the ball of your foot, or give me a big toe lock if you prefer. Just find your stretch line first, trying to tug down softly. You can use a little bit of dynamic movement, bending and extending through the leg if you need to first relax the limb. When you feel comfortable, try to extend through your supported leg. Try to relax the whole spine into the mat. Brace through the soles of both feet. Keep your shoulder girdle nice and heavy into the mat, and make sure that you're not arching through the neck. So keep that chin line soft and relaxed. See if you can hold it for at least 15 seconds. Then let go of the left foot and draw the leg into a tabletop position, bringing your arms into a T shape on the mat. With your right fingertips, reach for the outside of the left knee. Draw the knee across the midline of the body. As you start drawing, shift or lift the hips underneath you, tucking the right hip underneath you so that you can comfortably draw the knee across the midline of the body, effectively stacking the top hip on top of the bottom hip. So you've got left hip over right hip. Trying to float your head in the opposite direction and trying to anchor through that opposite shoulder. Ease your way back to your midway point. Ground both feet, lift your hips up off the floor and restack your body in the middle of your mat. Draw the legs into table, cross your left leg over your right as if you were sitting cross-legged on the couch. Reach with your right hand for the outside of the left knee and duplicate with the other leg. Pull the two knees away from each other. Nod your chin towards your chest. Take a big breath in. On an exhale, scoop to peel up. Hold that rounded frame. Keep tugging actively and float your elbows up at the same time. We're going to come up into a little rocker from here to bring us into a standing frame. So as you unbind, bring your legs into table, tuck your hands behind, rocking the body weight up and down, rounding out through the spine and giving me a little C-curve frame on the spine as you rock back, trying to hover those feet off the floor and bracing with nice little floating elbows on the side so that you resemble a rocking chair. Give me 3 more and then we'll use the momentum on the last one to push up into a standing frame. Maybe brace your hands into the mat, draw your weight softly up onto the haunches, come into a soft forward fold, bend the knees as much as you need to, maybe connecting your hands to the mat if you can, or maybe just bracing on your shins, or maybe the top of your thighs as you bend and extend. Play where you're comfortable. And then try to hold that forward fold, balancing out the weight distribution between the balls and the heels of your feet. So maybe just find a little rocking motion at first and then find that midway point and hold it. Switch your inner thighs on. Feet are totally grounded into the mat. Pull out from your pubic bone towards your navel. Check that your feet are stacking in parallel underneath your hips. Soften through the knees and ragdoll style peel up with a soft bendy knee line. Restack, realign your body. Heel toe in, connecting your big toes and your ankles. Tilt your pubic bone towards the 12 o'clock position. Float your hands into prayer and end off your playtime on the mat. Thank you so much for coming out and playing with me today. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed. Remember to shoot me your comments and to subscribe with your notifications on. I shall see you all for yoga on the mat tomorrow. Till then, keep it light.